You're retarded.
No, you're worse than retarded.
Yeah, you're... This is retarded. Okay. So, there's been some chatter on the YouTubes about Godwin's Law and what it is. And there's been a misconception. A man by the name of Joseph Butler. Should I say his name?
Yeah,
it's
sure,
on his YouTube
sure,
channel.
yeah.
Whatever,
He already said his name, even though he might leech off of our fame.
Yeah, he might leech off of our street cred.
Yeah.
Okay, so he made a 18-minute video about Godwin's Law and how my paper was inherently flawed. But what he fails to understand is he's mentally retarded. And if you look through his video, my main point in the paper and in our debate holds true. That in not every single case, it is on a case-by-case analysis, or that you should look at the gray area itself as those exist in the citing of Godwin's Law itself.
Also, another big misconception is that Godwin's Law is actually a refutation tool when it's not. It's merely an observation.
It's literally stating that as a conversation is exceeding a certain amount of time or just growing lengthier, the probability of Hitler being brought up increases. It's not saying that that is a bad thing inherently or that is a good thing.
It doesn't comment on the quality of the reference, whether or not, it actually makes sense or is a fair point or anything of that nature. It just says that it happens.
So this is where the main point lies. That Joseph Butler has a major misconception about what Godwin's Law really is. He thinks that it's it's a bad argument, it's abusive. No. Godwin's Law itself is abusive because it's trying to treat every argument itself as inherently bad in the terms that Joseph Butler is using it in. And thinking that it can dismiss any argument in the scope of Hitler.
Yeah. Now, he brings up false equivalency, that you don't want to equivalate, as he puts it. Right? Something to Hitler or the Nazis when it's not necessarily in that same area. But what we need to remember is that we have a term for that called false equivalency that actually serves the purpose of showing that there's a false equivalency put together. Godwin's Law is not pointing out there's a false equivalency. Now, the man who made it pointed out that a lot of the time those were crappy arguments. But he doesn't say in his law whether or not they're crappy or not. He does not distinguish whatsoever between good or bad, or whether or not, it's false or true. He states that it is there, and it happens.
And the main point there is that even Mike Godwin admits that there are cases in which citing Hitler as an analogy is stupid or bad or just an abusive form of debate. However, there are very many examples in which citing Hitler as an example is a good comparison. As I brought up in my own paper with Emperor Nero, he abused and exterminated many Christians based on the fact that they are indeed Christian. Now, that debate itself was not started with conversation about Hitler. It was equated to Hitler as time went on. So when we look at that itself, he is a Hitler-esque character. Therefore, it is a fair argument to say he is like Hitler.
Yeah, and the same thing happens really with a lot of different political leaders that also spearheaded genocides, which goes through a very long list of people.
As with any morally bad character itself, they can be equated to Hitler if the deeds that they did were similar to that of Hitler.
Like drinking water.
Like drinking water, exactly. You are like Hitler if you have drank any form of water.
Hitler drank water. Now, is it a good comparison? Is it calling you evil? No.
No.
It's just Hitler drank water.
And that is where Godwin's Law should be used. It's not dismissing the idea that drinking water makes you similar to Hitler, because in that truth itself, there is a similarity between you and Hitler, being that of drinking water. You both did that. So in a way, you are technically like Hitler. And it's not trying to dismiss an argument, it's simply saying that those arguments do indeed exist. Very nice! Now, I'd like to spend the last few minutes of this video, this refutation to a refutation, to just say how stupid his video was. Oh lordy, words are hard, aren't they? It much increases. Or well, it was more increases, wasn't it? It more increases. Whew. Equivalent. Equivalent. Oh, lordy. What a bad video.
What a beautiful man, though.
What a beautiful man. He is a very beautiful man.
Unlike Hitler.
Unlike Hitler. Hitler's not an attractive man. However, Joseph is an attractive man.
Yes.
Therefore, in that way, Godwin's law would not be cited in comparing the two as alike, in fact, showing their differences and contrasting them. We're retarded.
We're fucking stupid.
Oh, okay. Anything else you want to do?
No. I think we did it, hitting a little bit over 6 minutes. Seems like a normal amount of time.
Yeah, instead of 18 minutes. Ugh.